Hello, hello. Hello. We have some topics prepared, but wondering if you had anything specific or even not specific that you're curious about in Titan, because we are here
Well,
live
actually,
taking your questions. Yeah, go for it.
okay, I recently looked at the city of Milwaukee's site and I saw that they had a block of things that were, of popular interest. And I asked Carlton about it, if it was something I should bring up with you. And he said it was just a free-form block. It wasn't anything that was automated. So the reason that I was interested in this, one of the people here is going in and changing the order of some of the items in the menus. And I was wondering if the way the city of Milwaukee handled it might be considered a best practice, because then you've got the overall structure staying the same for returning people. Any thoughts on that?
That's a little too vague. So give me I don't know if you can send it
Oh,
in chat. Send me a link to the page that you're referring to if you want to chat it to us.
okay, sure.
Welcome everybody. Chelsea, Joylyn. Good to see you guys. I can see
Hello.
Joylyn. I can't see anybody else. If anybody wants to turn their cameras on, we will not complain, even if you're in your bathrobe. We'll say that.
Are you saying I should go get my bathrobe? Is that what?
You might look better. I don't know. Not saying.
Okay, well,
Chelsea, any questions? Anything specific? We didn't get a whole lot of written questions, et cetera. We have some topics prepared, but we were just wondering, and we're going to poke everybody to see if there's something specific they wanted to have us cover. And Maria was going to look something up here.
I don't think so. I was just kind of
Hanging out.
hop on. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna hopefully do something fascinating. We're gonna take a deep look into the Smart Search Health inside of the Titan site, and hopefully everybody will learn something from John and I splunking through there. But yeah, I think it was Marie had a question about the nav options on the City of Milwaukee best practices, kind of are laying out for get the general sense of reordering navigation or something. And she's looking up a page. I guess while she's doing that, why don't we, John, let's jump in. Joylyn, did you have any questions specific? You're just hanging out?
I do. So last time, I think I wasn't there. Last time you guys talked about forms extensively, and know you guys gave some recommendations for, because I went through and I re-listened to it, but for outside vendors that will allow us to do some like conditional form, like if you select this selection, then other things gray out type of thing.
Right.
So I have two questions. One, we have Zoho and we have those capabilities on Zoho. Does that work seamlessly with Titan if we were to decide to use that?
It should. You should be able to take Zoho and either through an iframe, which is kind of the worst case scenario, be able to embed an iframe form on the page. And with a little bit of finesse, you can make that look pretty seamless, so that when they actually get to the form, they're channeling and tunneling directly to Zoho. So Titan has nothing to do with it. Or if they have well-behaved HTML and or JavaScript, you may be able to embed that form more natively on the page without an iframe. And that's really just a matter of doing an experiment, see what happens. So I would start with building out a simple form with some conditional logic in Zoho, putting it into raw HTML, John, or AppBlock, raw HTML.
Yeah, raw HTML would be the easiest.
Put in there, see what happens. Don't spend a whole lot of time building a form, but put a couple conditionals in there and a couple of behaviors you might want to do. Just experiment with it, and then drop it in raw HTML block. See how it behaves. You might be 95% of the way there with raw HTML. Then if something's misbehaving, can contact us. We can take a look and see if there's something easy that's tweakable. We can sometimes look at the code and see something they're doing that might be problematic that could be removed. So those are a couple ways to think about it.
Yeah, and the thing I also would love to see is what kind of HTML snippet they give you for that. Raw HTML would work, but maybe you get most of the form HTML, all the inputs and everything rather than the iframe version. And maybe that fits into the form block WYSIWYG. So you'd go into source mode on the form block, paste in the HTML that they give you, and then it will most likely have names and IDs that are specific to their system, which is fine. But maybe there's then some ability that we can give through the WYSIWYG to make some fine adjustments or something along those lines. Or if we're getting involved with some kind of integration, then that's maybe where we connect some kind of handler or something that they can submit to, and we can do something in addition. There's lots and lots of possibilities, ways to go. Raw HTML is the easiest one to start with and go with, but there's always more than just raw HTML.
Okay, so then right now we have a job set up that sends everything to any Titan form submission to Kickbox before it goes to Zoho. We would have to bypass that or rework that for these forms?
Potentially. Without looking at it, it's hard to say.
Yeah, so you can have the form. Once you have that code from, if Zoho gives you a well-formed HTML, very likely they're going to have some custom JavaScript that they want to include, and that could be local to that page. Same, they might have some custom CSS they want to include that would be local to that page. All of that's allowed and will work just fine as long as it's just syntactically compliant. It's not going off. And if they do a good job, all of that should work inside Titan.
Okay. So then the second question is there any plan to work conditional form ability into Titan in the future?
So,
because I didn't catch that. If it was asked, I didn't catch it on the recording.
Yeah, so the answer is we have built conditional logic, a custom one-off with some pretty advanced form logic for workflow processing and other stuff where we have some forms with hundreds of fields on them with tons of conditional branching logic with submissions and all sorts of other stuff that we've built for one client. And as soon as we get another request for somebody else of something similar, we're going to version that and make it a little bit more generic. But we've already taken or repurposed parts of that specific for clients. The deal is that there's not it's at the moment, and this isn't a great answer, it's being configured with a big XML file. So there's not a user-friendly interface like you will get with Zoho or Jot Forms or some of these other places where you're dragging and dropping stuff on and you have this immense, massive application for designing and building the forms with all sorts of user-friendly air catching and air trapping. So we have the ability to do it, but it requires a technical thinking to be able to do it. So Titan has a very advanced forms processing engine. It doesn't have a friendly user interface to it at the moment.
Okay, so this is my official request for that. Because we're heading there. We have some forms that we know we would like to incorporate, but to really do it and have a really good user experience, they're gonna have to be conditional.
Yeah.
So that's my official request for that. Okay.
If you had examples of those forms, are they in Zoho right now? Or do you have
No, I mean, I'm not sure how soon we're going to try to develop one of those in Zoho, but that is like, it's on my giant to-do list. So, but I can let you know, like when we get there.
Yeah, do it. And then chart, we'll take a look and see what we can do for you. So yeah, be thrilled. Okay. Forms is a very popular.
I have some forms that could already use that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I was just going to say, I have some forms that could already use that. So.
Okay. It's in our top 20 list, and it's not in the top 5 at the moment, but it's in our top 20 list of things that people have requested and need. It's not frequent or common, but it's often enough where it's something we're paying attention to. So, all right. Maria, did you find some stuff for the Milwaukee? Did you?
Yeah, I did. I put it in the chat. City Milwaukee,
right.
But I did have a form question follow-up or comment.
Sure.
We're currently using Cognito as a forms builder, and it does have some conditional and that's why we're using it. And we just linked it to form. But my real question is, we're doing this, ADA compliance review. And so the forms would need obviously to be compliant. Is that something that you would happen to know by the name of the company, or is this something that I really need to contact them and say, we need to be compliant by April 2026? Where are you at on this?
Yeah, the big guys that are doing third-party forms processing, which is the other half of the topic, are compliant. Our forms that we are doing right now have the ability to be compliant. I don't know if our default form has full ADA compliance, John, built into it, but I know that we've stuff for people.
Well, again, but is it a default form full of text inputs, or is it there's some are and some aren't? I will say, I think the likelihood is there would be some some level of remediation that would probably need to happen. And it varies a little bit based on what version of Titan you're on. So in some of the newer Titan instances, like 7.4 or 13-ish, we made some changes that, moved the bar forward a little bit. But if you're back on 7.3 or older, then you may not have some of those, those changes. But there's always a path of remediation possible. But I would say definitely you should reach out to Cognito just to find out what their compliance is and see, at least get a sense for what their roadmap is also.
And we do have a remediation project that we're working on with the county as far as accessibility. It's still in kind of a holding pattern right now, but it is in the works.
Yep.
Thank you.
You have Maria, you sent me this link, etc. What was there a specific URL inside of there? This is the one that you sent is just
This is just their homepage, and I just thought this was nice that they had popular this week because that sounded like the same type of thing that Jordan was trying to do by changing, let's just say, the order of the items in residence. She'll look at Google Analytics and she'll say, oh, more people are interested in this topic, so she'll move it up the list.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's a free-form block, as you mentioned, and your question was, is this a good idea and rearranging it and changing it? Yes, absolutely. So if you think that houses for sale is the hot topic this week, rearranging it, putting it up on top, go for it. In a free-form block, it's as simple. It's trivial to move that stuff around and republish it.
Okay. Super. Thank you.
Sure, you bet. Easy question. We need more like that. More just anybody else have anything specific before John and I have a standby topic, etc. We're going to talk about smart search, but we are here for you guys. So if you had anything specific, that's why we're here. So no such thing as a dumb question. Some are smarter than others, but there's no such thing as dumb. Anybody? All right. Let me change. Well, if you change your mind, you can interrupt at the same point in time, or if something else. So we were looking, I said, John, let's talk a little bit about smart search. We made a bunch of changes inside of here. And let me move you guys out of the way and slide this over here so I can see. This is the Northwoods smart search. And a couple things you'll note is we have this default index for Northwoods 2.0 thing. So the very first thing I said to John is, how do you rename that again? And so show me again, John, what is it? Default index for Northwoods 23. This is our current one. You can tell by looking at the traffic over here, because I have the old Northwoods down over here and the traffic went to 0 in 2019. So that one's not being used. So, but I think this is our current one for Northwoods. It's actually NWS Digital. So how would I rename that?
So you would go to the settings tab. All of the information that you see in the nav, and the types of things that are selected to be indexed are controlled under settings.
So NWS Digital Northwoods 2023. Not sure why the date's in there, but maybe that's relevant to when we doing this. So I do that, done, save, and there it is, NWS Digital. Same thing with Titan CMS. Let me rename that one. So this default index is not a necessary name there. So if you want to clean up the smart search, etc., Titan CMS 2021. Looks good.
Or the default index 4 prefix there. That's something it's indicating to a lot of times to us, because we'll be the one in there managing things, not just in our Northwoods environment, but in, if we come in to support anybody's environment, we can tell right away from the name that index was created when the site was created. So Northwoods 2023, we probably did a redesign or something and started a new site. And when that globe was created in Titan admin, all of the infrastructure for a search index for that new site was also created. And then it was the default for that new site, which was named at the time Northwoods 2023. So all of those tend to be indicators about where something came from, versus, did somebody come along, have a bright idea about managing, a different kind of search index and they just put it in there. Well, if they did, then, using the create button, then they probably didn't type default index for, as part of the name of the index. But yeah.
Makes sense. All right. So what we wanted to do next is just kind of do a little like a health checkup of all the stuff that's going on inside of here. So let's take a look at the Northwoods site. Again, I'm going to move this up just an inch so I can see. Oop, did that make it too big for you guys? I know the share.
No, that looks good.
Okay. All right. So if I come inside of here, I can open up. I can see that we're getting some traffic. We had a big surge of traffic back in June, July. It's dropped off a little bit in August. So this is where you go and you talk to your marketing team and say, hey, what's going on? How come traffic's dropping off? But we also can see that we had popular unmanaged terms. So unmanaged terms, WordPress accessibility, 5 searches on that. Last one was today. Somebody's looking for Southwoods 21. Actually, it's searched just by number of searches. So I can click that. Word the is our most popular search term, John. The.
I don't think they got very useful information from that.
Nope. Nope, probably not. So that's one we ignore. But we can also see all of this noise in here. These are hacking attempts. So your site is getting these all the time also. Site on the planet gets these. These are attempts to either denial of service or embedded query to try to get the search engine to respond to a direct SQL query. So you can take each one of these things apart inch by inch. But when you see kind of weirdness like this with the word select in it, that's somebody's trying to do a SQL injection attack. Sysdate sleep. This looks almost like a denial of service attack, trying to get the site to kind of go into delay. And then we start getting into some more normal terms. We actually take those terms and we drop them over here into suspicious terms altogether. So if you wanted to clean all those out of your unmanaged terms, if you don't care to know what people are attempting to do, you can go click over here, action, and you can erase all those phrases. They will be deleted from your index and they won't show up in your regular unmanaged terms. Is that correct, John?
Yeah. It's simplifying this presentation and all these other views to not, you're getting rid of, because we log every single thing that somebody puts into the search bar of on your site. So I think on the Northwood site, the NW's digital site, it's down at the bottom in the footer. So anything anybody typed in there or a bot filled in, it's going to get logged to the database. And so cleaning out the junk makes it a lot easier to do this type of analysis and see, what people are actually searching for and whether or not they're getting anything useful.
Yeah, so I can go and delete all that.
Yep.
Should I delete it all, John?
Go for it.
All right, erase all those phrases. Are you sure? Yes. So all of the suspicious terms are being removed from the database. Now, if I go back to unmanaged terms, now it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah. The word "the" is still fairly useless, obviously, and you could, take some steps to do additional cleanup. But at least the things that might be / most likely be nefarious, then you took care of those.
Okay, so I see core web vitals is a topic Fred often speaks about. It's deep in the analytics. WordPress accessibility, it's not really a Titan topic, but we offer WordPress services also, as you may know. And so if I can go click on that, I can see what results are coming up. Somebody's typing in Word. So I'm doing a little bit of maintenance now on our own site. I see WordPress accessibility. Actually, the results over here, these are reasonably good results. So if I'm searching for accessibility, which actually I just searched for, up over here, we search for it again on our own website. Here's what's coming up. What you're seeing in accessibility, how to budget, WordPress trends for 2022. That's good. John, we did a video on that about accessibility in general. That's both Titan and WordPress. And I think Sydney has it up here. In fact, here it is. I have it open. And Sydney did a little bit of topic. Northwoods.
The short end.
And it's a WordPress accessibility. So this was an okay video. I would like to embed that in our site. So how do I
Oh,
add
nice.
it in? All right. So if I just copy this URL, that's not going to quite work, is it?
No, there's usually like a way to grab the iframe or whatever to embed the YouTube video? Is it part of the settings? Oh, there you go.
Share. All right. And I think I can click embed. And here is the code. And actually, I can just copy all the code.
Oh, that's perfect.
All right.
Because that little snippet of HTML would go great in like a freeform type of result.
So let's add a result over here. Add a new result. A freeform result. And I'm going to add this now into our search results, etc. So the Northwoods team discusses accessibility. Topic for everybody. And I think if I go into source, I can now drop that iframe right in there.
Yep.
And get out of source. Oop, look at that.
Sweet.
Right. Beautiful. So I hit done. got an extra space in there, but whatever. And save. And so now if I go back to Titan search results and I search for WordPress accessibility, you can see I've got search results, search keyword, WordPress accessibility. So I typed this in ahead of time. There we go. Now it's a featured result. Should I use accessibility plugin or widget from a website? So now we have featured this bit of somebody searching for WordPress accessibility. Or frankly, we could add, if anybody searches for accessibility in general, I could add that in there. So now this is a managed result. There's WordPress accessibility. How do I add just the general term accessibility in there also?
So a lot of the things you can do are all under the actions menu. So you pop that open, you could add a new result, or you could find and link additional phrases.
All right. So accessibility, if nobody has searched for and it's not in the list over here.
That little green plus there will
Yeah.
add the term, even if it wasn't previously searched.
Okay, so I do plus. And
Now you keep changing the spelling mistakes that you're making. Not everybody's going to do that. You could easily include some of those spelling mistakes as terms also, and then help people that. Yep.
Yeah. All right. It's already in there. All right. Yeah. So everybody that's spelling accessibility wrong. Is it 2 S's or 1? How do you spell accessibility? 2 S's, right?
Yep.
All right. That's right. Okay. So now I hit save. So if I go back to the Titan site and over here, and let's just go down to the bottom where the search thing is, and I just type in accessibility.
Oh, you got 3 S's. That's good.
That's not good. Let's get rid of one of them. There it is. Same results coming up now for just accessibility and general accessibility you could choose, et cetera. So nice, so this could be tuned up. This could be tuned up further. So run through that. Anybody have questions?
I was going to say the nice thing about that is as more people start searching, all those misspellings, they'll also show up in your list of unmanaged terms. So if you wanted to, you could even start typing in the filter results area, like ACC, and just see if there's any other terms. No. So, but at some point it'll happen, and you'd be able to easily link them into. Well,
let's misspell it.
There you go.
ACCESIBILITY. All right, is that properly misspelled?
It looks, the red squiggle tells me it's properly misspelled.
All right, there we go. All right, so we have misspelled. Let's go over to Smart Search. Let's go to terms. Actually, I can see all search terms, and I think I can sort this by last searched.
Yep.
There it is. There's accessibility was searched just now. You can see all the other words that are being typed, and so now.
So if you edit the result set that's currently managed. So, now you're here on the misspelled term, which there's nothing for. But if you go to a managed result, that you want to link that term to,
there it is.
Look at right there is the misspelled phrase. It found it and is ready to let you just add it in.
Done. All right, so now I can put that up on the top there. All right, so I now hit save, and now if I go and I search for ACCESIBILITY. Misspelling, even with get caps. That's interesting. Let's see what it does with that.
Should treat it the same.
Yep, found it. Okay. Yeah, and so now there it is. But I didn't get any organic results after it. I got the Smart Search result, but I'm not getting the organic ones because they probably don't match that term at all.
Correct.
Yeah, so the DT search index is actually ignoring it, but I am being able to intercept the one misspelling of it, etc. So it's not the exact same result. All right.
Yep.
All right. So what else could I check in here? If I wanted to do a little health check on all of our stuff, so I could see unmanaged terms, I would go and search by number of searches.
I think that's probably a common one that people would be doing is, what's a popular search term on my site? In particular, you could do that within the managed results section and see if there's some popularity among terms you are managing. And then you can make decisions about, maybe I need to add a little fresh content for, accessibility or care or what. If you sort it by number of searches, that one doesn't sort.
Yes
But
or
if
no?
you're, but if you were looking through your managed terms and seeing if there's good hits on them, then maybe it's a chance to add more fresh content on that topic. But the unmanaged terms is, I think, the more valuable spot. You know, people are telling you exactly what they're looking for,
Yeah.
and if they're not necessarily getting what you want, I mean, the opportunity to see what the organic results were is going to give you a lot of information about how you could improve the body of content on your site to meet those terms.
Yep. So actually, the member managed terms on most sites is usually not huge. Some people have a lot, but mostly it's 100, 200, et cetera. So you can, it doesn't sort. We should add that there's a feature, John, but the ability to kind of scan here real quickly and see which ones are manufacturing's got 19 hits, classes, webinars, the whole bunch, et cetera. So I can see which terms are UX web design getting lots of hits. And I can see, not since December of last year, nobody searched for that. All right, what else can we check? We've looked at renaming these things. We can look at our different terms for our main sites. Specific searches we cleaned out without results.
So something I think might be interesting now that you cleaned out a lot of the suspicious stuff.
Yep.
Go back to the dashboard for this index. Remember how you said there's that huge lump of content or searches in June and July?
Yeah.
You know, and how come our searches dropped off? It was, I think, what you said.
Yes.
Well, I think what you'll find is it was actually unnecessarily high during that section because of the suspicious searches.
Look at how it's dropped way back down.
Yeah.
You've taken all that data because there were 700 to 800 searches inside of June and July.
Right.
Suspicious, and now it's come way, way, way down. Interesting. So actually cleaning that stuff out was giving me much, much better information on true search traffic on our site. And the fact that this has leveled off is very, very indicative. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good, that's a key insight. I like that.
Yeah. And for people who aren't familiar yet with the new smart search, you can interact with the bar graph or the line chart there. If you clicked on, July 2024, you can get a zoomed in view. And yep, right on that dot. There you go. A zoomed in view of what was going on search traffic wise for the month of July. And then you can click in deeper to a given day and see the time.
Look at that. Yeah.
The time track for when things were happening.
A million people searching on Titan CMS on these days, et cetera. Interesting. Right. Yeah. Okay. So then based on this, I can click in, if I go last year, and I can do in December, what was going on in December, privacy policies, big spur in traffic. So this is very helpful. Lots of insights. What's going on in any specific time? What are the people searching for in that period of time? And picking on a specific day. Yeah, look at this. Huge traffic on privacy on this particular day at this particular time.
Right.
6 searches. I like that.
Yep.
Dashboard, very handy. Very handy. Anybody have any smart search questions? Or other questions? All right, one last thing.
Maybe a quick question. So I worked at WCTC and we used to have like a staff directory on our website. We no longer have that because of security reasons, but we still get a ton of searches for like specific people's names. So I don't know if you have any suggestions of how to handle something. Like, would I put a free form content and try to like identify actual names that says like, we don't have this, or just kind of let people get nothing?
I believe strongly that if you see a popular search that is resulting in a null set where they're just saying nothing found, you should put something up that says, I don't know what one answer is for privacy reasons beyond our control. We can no longer publish staff directories. If you have, call our general information number, we'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
because it keeps people engaged in the content you want them to engage with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Or reach out. Oh, are you looking for, maybe it's a potential student, right? Trying to reach out and find an advisor of some kind, and they just can't, find their email. Or it's like, okay, if you'll call this office number and we'll get you in contact. Yeah. Something to help them stay engaged in the content and get to where they most likely are going. And you're going to know that better than anybody else. So I think Pat's spot on.
Yeah, a null
Okay.
answer. Null answer is not a good answer.
Right.
My great example is the Blue Angels come to Milwaukee every couple of years, and there's a lakefront thing. It's a private organization that puts the whole thing on. It's not part of the official city government offering, but people go to the city website of City of Milwaukee and the County of Milwaukee searching for Blue Angels, every time, and oftentimes they get no results. I don't know what the current result is, but back when I made this point, I said you should really put something up there that says the City of Milwaukee's happy. You look at that result to hey, welcome the Blue Angels. Here's information on how to get a hold of them. So now you're getting all sorts of the PR benefit for the city without having to endorse anything. But having a null answer, especially on a popular search term, is a bad user experience.
Yeah, and it just lends to a negative perception, right?
Yes.
You don't want anybody to have a negative perception. Oh, look at this site. Their search is terrible. They must not know what they're doing and blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
Yep.
You mitigate that and say, hey, we can't offer this information, but here's what you can do.
Right. All right.
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so I just put in the term in our site, plastic melt bolt.
All right.
It has a lot of returns, and I'm on a page where the only word I can find, it's for our default, it's set up to do match any word. Our products index is set up to, I don't remember. Let me look.
You said plastic melt bolt.
Yeah, plastic melt bolt.
Oh, like that. Like I just typed in.
Yep. So if you scroll down and you click more on products, so yeah, the answer is right there, but this is what my question is. So if you do see all results,
Yeah.
there's 136 results here.
Yeah.
And I came across this day where could not find where the term was showing up on the page and why this thing was a result.
I see.
So I think I figured it out. If you go to thermistors, which I can't remember what page it was on, but thermistors is one of the responses. And the only place I can find any one of those three words is in a form under industry.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's happening a lot on our site, and how would you start to mitigate that? Because thermistors is not a proper, like it's close because it's in the sensor family.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things here where it doesn't make sense why we have so many results.
So
other than the fact that somebody's looking for a term as a whole that has one part that we use a lot on our site, like the word plastics, because we serve the plastics industry site.
So so this is where it's picking up all three of these terms. So here's obviously the best match. So this one matches perfectly. I assume that sensor accessories deal with melt bolts. So in theory, they're weighted to some degree by how often all three of these terms show up on the page. And that DT search, which is, I think, responsible for this search index, is applying an algorithm, et cetera. But if it sees two of the three words or one of the three words, in theory, in ranking, diminishing order, it's going to do it. But if are you looking for something specific? Or are you trying to reduce this number of results to a more manageable set?
Yeah, I'm just trying to reduce it. And I know I can do that with managed terms. And that's, another thing on my giant to-do list.
Sure.
But I feel like there's got to be a way to narrow that down without having to manage every possible product line.
Yeah. I think, here's where I would
Mm-hmm.
draw a little bit of comfort in most people. So if you're talking about the user experience for the general public and anybody that's on the site, are going to look at the first 3 to 6, 9 tops results, make a decision and pick one of them, especially if you've got a match like this. So the fact that anybody is ever going to look at all 136 is 0.0001 chance. You might, and maybe somebody inside the organization might, but the vast majority of the public will not do that. The standard behavior is anything matches reasonably close, they're going to click on it. And here you got a perfect result right out of the gate. So done. And you're at the 99 percentile on just what you're seeing immediately on this whole thing. If somebody were to scroll down, like we saw plastic melt bolt offered a little bit more stuff on the initial search because you got some products, some resources, which also has, I don't know if this is the best resource, but in stock part numbers, that seems highly relevant. You got pretty good results for I would give this a good solid A- for search results for the 99 percentile of people that are searching for stuff in the general
Okay.
public. This is,
Right.
and the fact that there's too many results under products, nobody cares. You know, I always get a thrill out of Google. You search for something, you know, Milwaukee Brewers, and you get 7 million results. It's like, all right, that's nice, but I'm only interested in the schedule, which is on page 1, and the other 9 billion don't really matter. So the fact that they have that many is academic, interesting, but not a particularly useful.
Okay.
That's my first answer.
Okay.
Quick question, going back to the Blue Angels that you made.
Yes.
So if you do, I'm guessing I could go to Carlton and ask if you could give us a list of anything that had like a null.
Yeah.
So then to handle that, you just create a page that is not part of the navigation so that
Yep.
you can, you know, okay.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, see, this is a great result. So you go in and say, how many people are searching for it? I'll bet you, because they were here this summer, just a couple weeks ago. I'll bet you that you had more than a few searches for Blue Angels on the city website. People don't know. They don't know who's in charge of it. And so now you could have a little featured results in there saying, hey, Milwaukee is pleased to welcome, and Mayor Cavalier is welcome, Mayor Johnson is welcome to the Blue Angels. He had nothing to do it. Take credit for it, you know, and then say, you know, and here's the schedule with a link out. You're just doing a public service.
Right.
Okay, but a page is required in order to have it show up.
Nope.
Nope.
So with Titan, the newest thing now, we just did this, you can make what's called a free form, which is what I did right here. So this, on this accessibility one, actually, let's go. I'm going to take the misspelling out of there. These were the organic results down below over here. So this is what was going to come up by default. For Blue Angels,
Okay.
if somebody searched Blue Angels on the Northwood sites, they're going to get nothing. All right, so let's do this real quick. Well, I think I can do it super fast. So let's go to the Northwoods website, and we're going to search all the way down for Blue Angels.
Yep.
Blue Angels. I'm going to get, well, we're getting all sorts of useful stuff. Right? Blue Angels.
Yep.
I wonder why we're getting that. John, why are we getting that? Why are we getting anything?
Good question. I think there could be fuzzy searching turned on, or
Yeah, we got a little mystery.
who knows?
All right, but we're gonna fix this. We're gonna say an unmanaged term, and where am I?
You got to change your date range because you were zoomed in
thank you.
before on December of 23.
Yeah, clear date range. Thank you very much. Blue Angels, there it is. All right, so number 1, Blue Angels. All right, so why are we getting this? John and I will solve that offline. I'm not sure why we're getting anything. We should get nothing. But we're gonna add a new result, and I'm going to add a freeform result, and I'm gonna click on that, and I say Northwoods is pleased to welcome the Angels to Milwaukee it was a month ago, in July 2024. Happy flying, I know. And then now I could go and get a picture, put it in there, and I could just snip an image, drop it into the whole thing. So I won't do that because I don't have an image ready handy, but I could just drop an image right in, and I hit done. And now it's done. And I'm going to save that result, and we're going to go back here, and we're going to search for, over here, we're going to search for Blue Angels again. And there's our featured result. And Northwoods is pleased to welcome Blue Angels Milwaukee.
So it's a way to create content like this so that, and keep it isolated to the search results. If you wanted, creating a page about the Blue Angels isn't a bad idea. It could be a place where you post, hey, we're going to be having them back in 2026, and something, if that's whatever you want to do. But in the situation which most people would be in is, well, I don't really want a Blue Angels page on my site. Right. This is the way to go. You put a little snippet in there so that you can provide some information to a user and keep them on the site and keep them engaged.
Especially if you're getting a lot of traffic on a term that you have nothing to do with. And it's like your teacher, Chelsea, with all your teacher lists. You could put the names in there, create little snippets for each one of them. It's a lot of work, but add to cut and paste, and or add the terms. So if under manage results, like I did, you could just take one teacher's name and then keep adding all the teacher's name as the term that is getting resolved. So I could just keep adding a term in here. Link phrases. Now I'm adding, Pat Bieser as a teacher, whatever. I do plus, and now Pat Bieser is linked into that same search result. So just keep adding names, add a name, add a name, add a name, and now you got a whole big list of all the teachers' names. A little bit of work, but now you're done.
Okay, so I have a question related to this. We have a part number index, and a lot of times someone puts in a part number and they won't find it because it's really only going to find part numbers that are currently in stock.
Yeah.
But what we'd like to have come up is a form. Can I do that, or do you have to do that because it's a no results thing and it's contingent on that no results response?
So if you have a whole big list of part numbers that, because you have thousands of them, correct?
Oh, yes.
And so nothing would prevent you from creating an off nav page with all
With the
thousands.
form.
Yeah, and then a form on the top of that page that says, looking for this thing, we're happy to supply it. And then you just, dump it into the freeform. You just dump it out of a spreadsheet, dump it into the freeform, and now you got that whole page.
I would actually say we probably have tens of thousands of part numbers.
Shouldn't matter.
And I don't think that we want them all accessible.
Right.
Well, pick the ones you want people to find.
But I mean, it sounds to me like, Joylyn, you're looking for, well, if it doesn't produce a result, show this instead.
Yes.
And that's a situation that we don't really build for.
Yeah.
We build for, hey, I've got this finite list of things that people tend to look for, and I want to point you in a direction. We don't have I don't know what you're talking about, and point them in a default direction, because it doesn't make sense to point them in one direction, right? They could be looking for Blue Angels, and there's not going to be anything for that, but you don't want to point them to ask about a part number form, right? So it just wouldn't make sense in a lot of those situations. But it's an interesting use case. Could there be like a regular expression that if the search phrase matches this pattern, direct them off this way, Bob? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But we don't have that either.
Well, we have something in place, because when you put in a part number, or maybe it's just the search results, no results for. Okay. Yeah.
But that form, I think that form that you think would be good to have, I think that would be an interesting featured result in a lot of search terms, right? Maybe it's a search term that starts with a certain, set of characters. Like if your part numbers all started with, a certain 3 letters or a certain format, then you can maybe pick up on those generic patterns.
We read patterns that we use and that are Temco part numbers, and then anything else would be not a Temco part number. But ideally, what we'd like to see, if you go to contact us, Patrick, and have that part number quote request, ideally it would be nice to just take this form and put that on the response on the results page.
Yeah, so halfway there to the thing, no results found, please contact Temco. So this is controllable content right over there. So you could say, I think you could do this now today. So whatever they're searching for, this could be expanded. If you're looking for a part, click here. If you're looking for a person, click here. If you're looking for, location, click here. You control this. You control that.
Okay.
So you put it right there if you wanted.
Just working on that. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I know just from the way a lot of our lists of results, whether it's a list from a filter block or a list from a TOC or some other block that creates lists, a lot of times there's a default result for when there's nothing comes back, but it's built into the XSL code. If that's the case, then it might be a small code tweak to add more content to that no results found message. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's maybe room for an improvement request, Pat, to do some kind of no results found type message in
you control that like a 404 page. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
that. But where that ends up, it probably would, now we're talking off the cuff here, it probably would end up in a block rather than in Smart Search, because every block will be different. Or like on the segmented search results, you've got all those different segments. You probably have a default no results found message for each different segment, because who knows how those are configured except for you. And so it probably ends up becoming more of a block specific chunk of content. Kind of like on the form block, when you're done, here's the thank you message I want the person to get after they filled out the form. It'd be something similar. It's like give them a free form area where they they create the content that comes up when
Yep.
there's no result found, something like
Yep.
that.
All right. Other questions? Anybody got anything else? Otherwise, thank you all. Thanks all for coming. Good discussion.
Before we wrap up, one of the things we wanted to quick ask is if people are aware of the documentation for Titan CMS
Oh, yeah.
documentation website. It's easily found by going to titancms.com, and you can go to that For Customers tab at the end and get to the documentation, or you just do documentation.titancms.com. And it's an ongoing project for us to keep updating the documentation and keep introducing new things for people just getting started, or the way that we categorize all the different areas of the workstation environment to provide documentation and how-tos related to that. If you're not familiar with it, take a look at it. A lot of questions get answered there. And if there's something missing, we can always add to it and provide more context and help for you guys through that documentation. But I was curious if anybody had used the site in recent times or had any feedback about how we might improve it, and just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Looks like a
I've
couple people
definitely
used
used it. Yeah, it's very helpful.
it. Okay.
And it's sometimes helpful, sometimes struggle to find things and ended up just contacting Carlton about my question.
Feel free to fire an email to support at Northwood saying, sure wish you had documentation on X. And then just keep firing those at us. And those get into our queue, and we got people that work on documentation. So if we know what topics are of interest, I'm happy to prioritize those first, second, third.
Yeah, and if those things, it's also helpful to know like how people learn best. I mean, we like to write articles, the written word sent. I like to be able to read about a feature or a topic and glean information that way. Other people might prefer to watch a video or listen to somebody, step through it in an audio of some kind. So that type of feedback is also helpful.
I prefer this because I walk through stuff on my screen while you guys are doing stuff there, and then that's how I remembering it
And make connections with it, yeah.
And then being able to ask questions and get your guys' response like real time is very helpful.
Happy to help. All right. Thanks everybody for coming today, and feel free to send any questions or thoughts, and we'll see you all again soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Yep, take care.
Bye.